Hey y'all, it's Renegayde. It's time to spill more Reali-Tea on all things Drag Race France All-Stars. As always, make sure you like and subscribe for more because you're not going to want to miss a single drop of content this season. On this episode, we're playing catch-up on episodes 2 and 3, where our All-Stars showdown in the Ball and Snatch Game, resulting in our first 2 eliminations of the season. But before we begin, let me introduce my co-host, and I don't think he says black quite enough here. It's QuackrrJack.
Hello.
Hi, Jack. How are you enjoying France All-Stars so far?
Oh my god, it's so good. It's such a refresher from All-Stars 10. Things actually feel really fun. I'm excited for every week. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm very impressed with the talent this season, as I kind of knew I would, with this group of girls. My only kind of flaw is that I feel like I wish there was a little bit more storytelling to the season. I don't know if I necessarily feel like they are really focusing on the personal relationships between the queens as much as they're focusing on just them, performing and doing well in the challenges. But I think that's only a small gripe that the strategic element feels like it's being slightly underplayed. But I also feel like as well too with the dub, it might kind of send things like a little bit like lost in translation, since there's literally like certain points where like I think I was clocking it during one of the conversations where Soa literally had 3 different dub actors at one point. So yeah, I could feel like there's a personal element a little bit missing. So I think we might go back to just watching the subtitles. Have you been enjoying the personal drama kind of developed between the queens at this point, Jack?
I mean, I kind of, there hasn't been like a lot of like, oh my god, this is really dramatic. It's been like, I have to decide who to go home, and that's the drama. But like, this is the first time they're doing an All-Stars thing in France. So like, this is the first time the girls have to really do this, right? Like, we haven't seen that many girls from the France series ever have to go on an All-Stars. So this is a new experience. So I understand that they're unsure of how to go about this the most fair and not trying to be rude to the other girls because they have to crush someone's dream at the end of the day if they win.
Mm-hmm. I mean, as big as an issue for some of us as it's for others, but I guess when you have to work with these people the next day, though, it does throw a little bit of
Yes.
a little bit of a cog into the wrench there, or wrench to the cog. I don't know the saying. We could kind of jump into the episodes here because I think we're mostly going to probably be talking about the challenges more so than what actually happens here. Because the first 2 eliminations of the season felt correct, not necessarily maybe correct on like who I would have chosen to leave like preseason, but based off of their performances in this challenge and in the next. Yeah, I can't say I disagree too much, but we could go and start off with episode 2 because episode 2 we get your favorite challenge, which is the ball. But there's a little bit of a twist to this ball here, their Super Bowl, because they're going to have 2 categories of looks that they brought from home, and then a third look that they're obviously have to make in the workroom. But the twist is that they're going to have to work in fashion houses, meaning they're going to split up into teams of 5, 2 teams of 5, and they are going to have to try to make a cohesive look with everybody else in their group. Did you like this idea for the ball? Because I didn't mind the idea personally initially. I don't mind this idea for a design challenge alone, but I think my big issue is that when they are deciding who wins, right? They're deciding which group basically has the better last looks, and then the tops and the bottoms are then determined from the team. So technically someone could have like the best look in the first 2 looks, even have the best look in the third look technically, but the rest of the looks in their house suck, and they end up losing the challenge even though they brought the best looks to the table just because their team sucked, because it was all generally more based on the team portion, it felt like. Did you like that, Jack? 'Cause I was very kind of unsure how I felt about how it was judged. I think it was judged correctly, but I was unsure like the rules of how I feel like it should be judged.
Based on what team won the challenge, I didn't have a problem with this because I do feel like the members of that team generally, and that's a asterisk right there, generally had better looks overall the whole time than the other five girls for the most part. Asterisks there, asterisks. But I do see how that can cause an issue, right? It's kind of weird to do it's like a team thing. Like you're gonna keep everyone on the team safe automatically. Eh, like that's it comes with its risk of like someone could be kept safe who definitely shouldn't be kept safe because they have a bad look. This was not so much the case this time. I do not believe that any of the girls who were on the winning team should have been in the bottom. So I think in this scenario, it's fine. It doesn't really come into play.
I think had this been U.S., RuPaul would have found a way to mess this up easily,
Oh, for
without a
sure,
doubt,
for sure, for sure. We would have had
without
some
a doubt.
issues.
But yeah, I think it was ultimately fair how it shaked out. But even though I was kind of just sitting here, just like kind of describing it, I was like, this doesn't feel right. But like we'll run with it. So
Yeah, it wasn't like that, but it worked out fine, actually. Kind
mhm.
of.
So we could talk about how let's talk about what categories then. We have XX ales, or in English, wings. We have Metro Boulet, or I'm gonna what was it? Metro Boulot. Let's go. Was that the other one? I
Metro
don't know.
work. Let's go.
Yeah. A day to night reveal look. I'm already regretting taking 5 years of Spanish and no French at all whatsoever because I already know I'm going to just butcher all these things. And then the last look is the fashion houses where Punani and La Big Bertha. Punani because she won the mini challenge. Well, she was basically kind of given the winning challenge to some degree. And then La Big Bertha, who had won the previous Lipsync, was in the bottom two before. I don't know why La Big Bertha got to decide to pick
Because
teams
she was the
here.
girl that was chosen to go home.
Oh, okay, that's okay. There you
But
go.
then they were
That's why.
like,
I was like,
JK,
why?
no one's
Why
going
didn't?
home
Well,
this
then
episode.
I almost didn't forget. I was like, well, then why did Magnetica not get to pick a team? It would have made more sense to just have Magnetica and La Big Bertha pick the teams, but whatever. Um, so that happens there. Did you like the look categories here? Did you like the first two looks here? Do you think their categories were fine?
I definitely loved the extra large wings. I thought that was so cool. I thought it was so amazing. We had so many good looks. Metro Work Let's Go is that like reveal thing that sometimes goes really wrong, and can be kind of an issue, though I think most of the people did a good job. Although there were a few uh how I say Metro Work La Flop going on,
Ooh.
but I don't think that it was like it's definitely better than most other seasons. Let's put it like that. When we go to reveals, this will never be near the bottom of like girls doing reveals, especially after we had that All Stars 10 reveal runway. Let's not talk about it because if I have to,
Ooh.
I will
Let's not.
be
Let's
upset
not. Let's
again.
just move on here. Teams worked out here. Punani chose Ellipse, Cam, Peach, and Mami Watta, and La Big Bertha chose Missy, Magnetica, Soa, and Moon. Did either of the two teams immediately kind of stick out to you as the front runners, or did you think it was going to come down to what
The
they actually
first
brought?
team. Yep. The first
Mhm.
team was like, I was like, they're the winners. They're the winners. They are the winners. I know they're going to win.
I mean, the other
Immediately.
team did have Magnetica, so it was kind of like, okay, well, it's
No, I don't think
possible.
Magnetica was the
It's
issue.
possible that she. Well, no, she's not the issue. I'm saying that she possibly because I do believe in Magnetica's aesthetic. I do think that she has brought some really good looks to the runway. So I do think that there's a possibility that she could have influenced her team here at some point. But the fact that we got Soa on this team here, and we already know Soa. The only challenges she ever is in the bottom for, like literally in Global All Stars, were design challenges. I'm pretty sure she was in the bottom for just design challenges in her original season too. So yeah, was definitely worried about whatever team got her. even though like I going into this, like Soa felt like that girl. I might be touching on this a little bit too early here. I don't really care though, because we don't really have too much else to talk about. But Soa came into this feeling to me like the obvious front runner, right? If we're just gonna go based off of like experience and how well they've kind of done on their like initial season and whatnot, like Soa to me felt like she was coming into this really having a growing experience after Global All Stars, but she did not feel like herself. And I think even she said that she was having a hard time really like competing because she's so focused on the fact that she's had so much that's been going on in her life in the last few years. I don't know if she ever broke down what that was specifically that she was dealing with, but like I was a little thrown that Soa was, right away kind of already feeling kind of some type of way when it felt like she was the one that kind of came in here as the one girl that I felt like I didn't really have to worry about. You know, is that weird to me to feel?
I mean, no, I think I had high hopes for Soa as well. Like, she's coming into her third season. She's the only girl that's ever been back, essentially, right, from this franchise. So she did have the most experience and probably was the most prepared, or should have been the most prepared, right? Does not end up being the case, but it felt like it should have been.
Mhm. Well, there was one other moment I kind of want to talk about here because it does involve Soa too. It actually involves Soa and Mami, because they're picking fabrics for the teams, and things start to kind of escalate between Mami and Soa. I don't even know kind of where this kind of came from or like if it was even real, but eventually, Soa's team does put up the fact that they're like, "Hey, we have Bertha. Like, she needs more fabric, so like, can we have the more fabric?" And eventually, they like, give in. But like, did you believe all this drama was real? Because this is kind of it. I don't know if it again. We were watching with the dub. The dub has no inflection of any sort of voice or character or whatnot in it. So like, it just felt like it kind of just came out of nowhere.
I think it's just how the girls talk to each other. I will say they have a very close relationship, so I never thought for a second they were actually like really, really fighting. I thought it was like, okay, this is them fighting over some fabric. This is them, trying to do their best for the challenge, and things might get a little heated, but it wasn't going to be serious. Nothing was serious. Like, it was fine. It seemed serious at first, but I think that's coming from an outside perspective. But because we kind of know that Mommy and so I have this like they've already established this relationship on the show. It was fine for me. I wasn't really worried about like them actually getting into a fight. I think they're just I think they're both very what's the word? Extroverted when it comes to their feelings and their opinions, and sometimes they clash heads, but it's never a serious like they're gonna duke it out or something.
Okay. Well, I guess we can just go and we can jump into the runway for this episode here. So, Jack, I'm going to let you take this one away because I know the ball is your favorite here. Obviously, we kind of know that Punani's team of Punani, Ellipse, Cam, Peach, and Mami are declared the winning team, while Logby, Bertha, Misty, Magnetica, Soa, and Moon are the bottom team. And we're going to have to choose a bottom three three bottoms end up staying from the losing group, three tops staying from the top group, and from there we get our top two and our bottom two, which we'll talk about in a second here. But Jack, I want you to go ahead and who are your top three favorite packages here, and which two do you think belonged in the bottom the most?
I think that the top three had to be probably Peach. We probably have to go with Cam Hugh, probably. Gonna give her that. And then, oh, this third one is very difficult because so many girls did well in one category or did well in two categories, but then like flopped the third, right? So looking at where I kind of place people overall, I would probably give I don't know, my third spot. I think is going to go to. Wow, that's hard.
I
Probably
know where you're
Punani.
going. I was gonna say I know where you're going. I don't know if I would have gone in that direction. I'm surprised that. Well, I know that you kind of already have a hate heart on for Lips, but
I don't.
I'm
I
shocked
don't.
that you didn't put her in the top because Lips had my favorite last look without a doubt. Like it was between her and Peach, um, but I understand why Cam was in the top as well too.
I will.
But
I will shout
I still
out.
think Lips
Lips
was my
had the
favorite.
one of the best extra large wings. She was my third place in that, only behind Peach and Magnetica, who I thought did extremely well in this category. I was shocked by how many good wing interpretations we've got here, and I
Yeah,
was
there wasn't one
gagged.
bad one, honestly. I can't really think of anybody.
My
Maybe
least favorite
Bertha's
was
was a little
probably
weird, the chicken, but
no
even
Big
then
Bertha
was
was
fine.
shout out to Big Bertha because that was such an unexpected way to do wings. Everyone else kind
I
of
mean,
went
true.
a completely different direction, and that was so fun and camp yet fashionable. But I do want to say that my least favorite in the wings, I think, was Moon, just because I think it was very expected and overdone, and nothing really felt like great other than her hair to me. It was just kind of basic in that category.
Would you have stuck
That
Moon in the
being
bottom?
Moon would be one of my bottom two this week, actually. Yes, Moon would be my
Yes.
bottom two, and she would be there with Soa de Muse. Um,
Yes.
I don't think it was a fair placement of who necessarily ended up in the top and who ended up in the bottom this week. I think we needed a redid. Like Moon's best outfit, in my opinion, was probably the fashion house outfit where she had the bodysuit on and the fun hair. And honestly, her other two looks were just kind of down towards the bottom. Actually, her extra large wings was my least favorite, and then her Metro look was my second least favorite of that category. But that's only because the transition didn't work as well. I loved what we went from to went to, but it just wasn't enough of a show-stopping look, I should say. I didn't really get like the. I know the girls were kind of weirded out that no one got the Rocky Horror thing. I got it, but then when she said, "Oh, I went to Rizzo," I was like, uh, that one was a little questionable. But the Rocky Horror, everyone should have gotten that immediately. That was the most obvious what it was thing. That being said, I do want to give a special shout out to the girl who should have been in the first place with Cam Hugh was Peach. This bitch came correct. I will say her final outfit was probably one of my favorites, but I will say her work outfit was not the best transition, but she was so smart in this presentation that I still put her up really high. Actually, I think I put her at number one still because I loved her presentation of this.
Oh
And
my god, I did too with the bike when she comes on the bike and
the
pretends to
bike,
be Uber Eats. I thought that was so smart. So
it
smart.
was amazing. This was just so iconic. The look that she revealed into isn't the most fashionable fun look, but it was a very big transition, and I liked that. It might not have been the quickest, but also her extra large wings blew me away. That was number one for me. I was like, that's crazy. It was one of those things where people used fake arms and like these wings being Pegasus. Everything here was so correct. I was like, this is good. This is something no one expected, especially because she came out and it was revealed because she had the wings in front of her. We're like, what is she? And then she like revealed her face, and we were all like, the prosthetics and everything. I just so much good here to say about that. And she did extremely well in the fashion house for me. Um, Not that she was the number one in the fashion house, but I do think she was extremely high up there. So her with Cam Hugh, and going back to Cam Hugh, who actually was in the top, her wings kind of fell middle of the pack for me. It was very cool, 3D printed metal wings. They were extremely tight. The metallic coloring of her outfit was very cool, and I loved her hair. It just was so many people did so well in this category. It was hard to put people in different areas, and I just felt like the metal wings were really cool. But some other people, like this is the one time I want to say Soa did something good in this challenge. I put her right above Cam because I really love these like hair kind of like her outfit was just so inventive and creative. So I couldn't. But Cam Hugh on the Barbies, two of the most iconic Barbie looks of all time. This was so smart from Metro Work Let's Go. So smart. And finally, her look, where she was like the bride in the collection, I thought was one of the best. No, actually, I think it was the best of all of them because it was just such an interesting way. Because collections generally do have a wedding piece, and like we didn't really see that in the other group. And this was really smart because this group, their house, really kind of did it right. Not that everyone had my favorite looks there, but they did it right. And then finally, so the reason I give it to Punani is I think she was the most consistent for the most part between these different. I think everyone was up and down. Punani, the only reason that I think her extra extra large wings went so far down the list was because someone else did the exact same thing as her, which it was Ellipse, and they did it kind of better. And so that's really hard to get away from. But her Metro look, Let's Go, was really fun. She made it herself, like everything else she pretty much does. She looked great. It was so fun to see her in something really campy, but like shows off who she is. And then her final look, I did. She wore a like sequined silvery like bodysuit that went through the shoes, through the hands, a little beret thing on the side tilted, and the same color fabric that matches that like wrapped around her body, but the wrapping made sense and it was only the one material and it came off of the arm. It was so fashion. It was so like correct. I was like, yes, you did it. Like that was good. Now, my dispute with Ellipse is only because I felt like her second look specifically wasn't that good. I felt like it was a fine transition look, but I didn't really prefer either of them. I just thought it was like meh. And the dress she turned into, I thought was very safe. I don't think she got so much praise for this. I wasn't really sure why. And the couture look in the house, I did not like this that much at all. In fact, it was my least favorite of the night. I thought
Wow,
this was a mess.
shocked.
I was like, I like the idea, but the execution of this was just really bad. The the huge pant legs, great outfit going up to this very small like top part covering her chest with a belt like right below the chest, and it could have been good, but it felt like it was just lacking. And I think part of it has to do with her makeup because if you notice, the girls didn't have much time to change their makeup while they were changing the outfits, right? Her makeup just did not fit in the slightest here, and it just looked a goddamn mess. She kind of looked like a hooker, um, trying to walk down the street and be a businesswoman, but had never gone to a job a day in her life. Like, this is a 5-year-old who got into her mom's makeup and like try to dress up as her mom who goes to work, is what this
You're
looked like
so
to me.
hateful. So
I'm sorry,
hateful.
it's the truth. So it wasn't that high for me. I don't think like she did a bad job altogether. Again, high points for that first look, but as a house, she definitely deserved to be safe. And I don't think she deserved to be bottom. She wasn't near the bottom for me. She just wasn't the top for me. I felt like it was crazy that other people weren't in the top. And I thought it was like the craziest thing ever was when Peach wasn't announced for the top two. I was like, what?
I
And then when
mean,
we got to
I was a little shocked that Peach was in the top two, but I'm a little more shocked that you think that Ellipse wasn't. But okay, I get it. I get
well,
it.
when you look at all of the lip stuff next to
You
other
also
girls, you're
hate
gonna.
her, so I get it.
It's not a hate thing. It's just really it was
You
so good.
do, you do hate her. It's that
Is
the
a
season
hate
one
thing.
bias is just carrying over, Jack. It's okay.
Okay,
I
well,
understand.
either
I
way, she did not
understand.
deserve, in my opinion, that placement. But I want to talk about Soa, who did deserve her placement in the bottom.
Ooh,
Like I said, her hair look for the first one and the wings was good. Her second look was cheap before she took it off, cheap after she took it off, and I didn't want to see any of it again. I was said, okay, so that's bad. That's number 10, baby. And I think I preferred the cheap before it got taken off, so that was really bad. And then for her house, this was just a setup fail, baby. You could see the seams, you could see her headpiece was not sewn on correctly, that was covering her face. I was like, this is a fashion don't. This was terrible. They set her up, baby, with that look. I don't know who did that, but whoever did that, they forgot that they had to make a look for her. They just said, stand right there, we'll just put the fabric around you, we'll make it happen. There's a
I think
scene
they
here, there's a
decided
scene
that
here kind of
Soa
thing.
had competed on too many seasons, and they're like, so we'll get to yours last, Soa, and then they just never got to it.
And honestly, I just think Magnetica did too well, and I didn't think her look at the final house part was the best, but I think it was better than other people's. I don't think I would have. I don't know why she was in the bottom. Personally, I don't think she should have been there. I think she was only there because of her previous performance in the first challenge, and it was just easier to put her in the bottom and send her home first.
I mean, to some degree, if I'm going to kind of be honest, if we're going to be doing non-elimination episodes, I do think there should be some sort of stakes between the queens that did the worst in that episode because they're not being punished for being in the bottom, right? So if it's a
Mhm.
situation where, okay, between we're gonna look at like if we're gonna say the bottom two is definitely one of Lobby Bertha or Magnetica, for that first spot, and then the second spot goes to the person who actually is in the bottom. Okay, then I could see why this decision was made. I don't know if Magnetica did anything for me that was completely worthy of saving her from being eliminated last week. Like last week was rough. So,
She didn't even get eliminated though, like
yeah,
Lopper
but it
Bertha
was
got
still
to.
but it was only
And
because
Eka had a
they
better
felt for
package.
her. That was only because they felt for her. They were doing whatever. Who was the one? They did that to some other queen too in the beginning for some other season where they're like, "We're gonna save you," and then they eliminated the queen that had been there for a minute, and then they ended up just eliminating the other queen the second time. I think that's a pretty common trope, but yeah, I don't think Magnetica did anything that made me like scream or whatever. But like, I can't deny that I do agree that I think Moon should have been in the bottom. I've been kind of talking to you about this though, that I think Moon is getting a lot of favoritism in
I
like
see
the
that.
not only just the edit, but just like just kind of with the judges. Like like her thing is like references, right? Where she's doing a lot of references and things like that that are supposed to be like she did Barbarella, then she did Rocky Horror Picture Show, so that's kind of like her aesthetic now. It's like let me do references to things. So I don't know if like the judges are like, oh, like we love this, but I'm kind of like I think that's a little cheap when your whole aesthetic is just a reference to something else. So for me, I don't know. I feel like Moon's been doing worse in the challenges than I would than the judges are saying. So I'm just like, I would not be surprised again. Actually, I was thinking was no, it was next episode. We'll talk about that in episode 4 because like I was telling you, we were talking about some stuff episode 4. So in our next podcast, we'll get into that. But yeah, like I there's something about how they're treating Moon, how she's getting edited here. I'm just kind of like, hmm. I think she's going to go. I think she's going to be at the end. But yeah, so ultimately, unfortunately, they do stick Magnetica in the bottom two with Zoa, who probably much more deserved it than Magnetica did.
We're good.
And it was up to Cam and Ellipse to determine who would go home. I do not have the lip sync song pulled up here because I cannot remember it, nor do I think it was an English song either. So, oh, it was Edith Piaf. That's right. Um, yeah, I,
Yes.
I, I do think that Ellipse won the lip sync for me. She didn't do as much. It was a little bit more like a Ginger Minch versus like a Denali kind of thing, where Cam was doing a little bit more. But Cam also like has like a little bit of a Georges quality where like I don't read her emotions as much as other people. Like Lips was giving me the emotion. So I can't say I disagree with the lip sync winner, but I also don't necessarily think this is going to be a lip sync I'll probably revisit very often.
No, it's a beautiful lip sync, but I don't care about really who won it. I think when it comes to lip syncs, this is my one thing I want to say. I wish both the girls in the top two got a badge. I that's the one thing about this season that I've already felt like, I wish the girls in the top two both got badges because I hate that they have to win a lip sync to get a badge to feel like they've won when really they did win already. And that's just a thing for me. Like I'm like, well, and it was a beautiful lip sync, but unfortunately, both of them, I believe, chose Magnetica to go home.
So it didn't matter either way. Magnetica was going home.
The
It does
outcome
feel
was
like
the same.
it does feel like she was cast to be that girl, and they
I feel
kind
like
of
she didn't
got what they
deserve it
wanted.
though.
She didn't. I don't think she deserved it the second time. If we're going, like I said, if it's a situation where if this is how we are going to be judging episode 2, which is how it should be personally for me, because I do think there should be a situation where if you mess up an episode and they're doing a bottom 2 specifically, then one of those two should guaranteed to be in the bottom of the next episode. Like it should be like unless these
I
two
mean,
do
let's go
so
through well.
amazing to take their like I don't know. I don't well I don't like the fact that certain challenges are allowing non-eliminations and certain challenges aren't. Right? Like
I
it
think
should
the
be.
talent show though deserves a non-elimination because talent is can be very subjective, and I do not that I disagree necessarily with who was in the top, but I don't necessarily agree with the bottom choices.
I don't see the point of
Agreeing
doing a
with
bottom then
Magnetica.
at that point. Like if we're
Yeah.
not doing
They just
elimination,
did it
then let's
for.
just let's not do a bottom 2
They
then.
were
Let's
just
go the
doing it for
UK6 route and just do
the.
tops.
It was strictly just for the shock factor.
I don't know.
And
I think it was still kind
it
of
was just a shock factor thing, and that's just something we have to like accept, unfortunately, right? But
yeah.
that being said, we get to the next episode. Someone is finally cut, and girls are like, "Oh, this is real now."
hmm And we get the Snatch Game the next episode here too, which um, I don't. It wasn't a bad Snatch Game. I don't know if I was really all that into it. I felt like the girls were trying. I don't know if I was laughing a whole lot, but again, I think it might have just been like again, I feel like it's hard to not know the language that the Snatch Game is in and to not understand the comedy and to try to find it funny. But like,
Yeah,
you can kind of tell who was trying, who wasn't really trying all that hard. But I just want to say one thing. Since when are we allowed to be inanimate objects? Because them letting Mami Watta be the Eiffel Tower, like what? Like I get, like okay, I get. We got the Statue of Liberty. I guess maybe that felt a little different because it's like a
a
person,
statue of a person.
right? You're, now we're having people being literally metal. I don't know. Like that felt like a reach to me.
I mean, I feel like it's kind of the same as using an imaginary character, but it is crazy because it's an inanimate object, so you're like, what? But I feel like it's in the same realm of like, well, I'm being the Tooth Fairy. Oh, I'm being, like Bigfoot. Like, yes, those are more humanoid, but like when you think about it, since they're technically made up characters, this is also a made up character. That being said, more importantly, she did bad. Like she did bad.
I mean, did anybody do great for you?
Um,
Because
did
I
anyone
don't
do
know
great
if
for me?
anybody like I felt Misty trying. She was getting last from the judge. I didn't find it funny, but again, I don't know who her character was.
I think La Big
She's
Bertha did a great job. I think, Missy did do a great job, and Punani did a great job, and that ended up being our top three. And I can remember each of them actually doing something that got laughs. So I was like, okay, cool. I was most shocked actually by Soa being in the bottom because I thought they were enjoying her performance. So that was a little shocking to
I
me.
don't
But
know. So initially on the first watch, I thought they were, but like rewatching it back, she was just giving the same answer over and over and over again, which can be funny like sometimes, but like
you
in
feel
this
like for the judges,
situation, it was just not. I don't think it was giving. It was just
it wasn't giving Alaska during the challenge in All Stars 2. I feel you.
no, no, it wasn't. It wasn't. Unfortunately, sorry. Like
Yeah.
it was. I don't even know if it was funny the first time because I feel like having the black character that's like just referencing black things like that's funny. I think to other black people more so than it is to like that's something I do, right? That's something that's like RuPaul is always like, "Why gotta be black?" Like that's why I always say why gotta be black, right? Like I think that's more funnier to a niche group of people than it is to just to what she was trying. And I also don't know if like I also don't know who her character is, but that's on me. Um, yeah, I don't know. I again probably if I could be real though, I probably would have stuck Moon in the bottom.
She was like, "Oh, I'm getting Moon out of here." Like, she
I
said,
don't know.
Moon is
I'm not
on
as
me.
like I want to like Moon more than she's giving, but I apparently you infected me with something preseason that all your Moon hate. So like, yeah, now
I don't
I'm.
have Moon hate. I have
Mm,
truth. But I don't have
and
hate
that
for
was
Moon.
rough.
I
It was
just
a little
don't think
rough.
she did. I think her Shirley was funnier than other people's, though. I wouldn't have put her in the bottom. I was not a fan of her look on the runway so much, but that's for a completely different reason. But like as far as what happened in the Snatch Game, I think it was fair. I think it
What?
was fair how we judged it,
I'm,
whatnot. Like,
yeah, I mean, ultimately, I feel like when it came down to it, like I feel like Soa just really probably needed to not have applied to be on the season. Really, is
it
what it
was
came
her
down to.
time,
Like it
unfortunately.
felt like she needed to go. Like so, like
Yeah.
I'm not that upset by whatever happened because ultimately I think the right result happened. Um, I do hope that Soa is in a better spot where where she's at now, obviously because this filmed who knows when sometime probably last year I'm assuming maybe earlier this year, but hopefully ever since filming so is in a better spot here because like seeing Soa Muse go out second crazy to me, but I also think that speaks to just the caliber of this cast and this group, and just like everybody is bringing something to the table here. Let's run it back here for a second. Jack, go ahead and let's talk about the runway here. Jack, go ahead and take
Let's
us
go
through
through it.
your
Okay.
standouts for the week
The
here. Who
biggest
stood out for the
fail
run
of
for
the runway
Lips?
is Lips. It was trash. It was
Why do
bad.
you
She
hate
had this
Lips so much?
girl. If you look at just look at the runway, look at
Why do you hate
Ellipse's
Lips so
blow up runway,
much?
and tell me you like it. You can't because it's not true. Um, so Ellipse does this quote unquote like coral look that's supposed to be talking about like save our oceans stuff, and I love the beautiful message. What I didn't love was this outfit. It was not beautiful. The judges lied to her many a time when they told her it was beautiful. I said the message might have been beautiful, but she was not. But in
Leave
my
that beautiful rainbow blow up doll alone,
it's not
okay?
beautiful. It's supposed to be coral, and it's literally
It's kind of giving
it's
me a little like
it's a
Mickey is
purple
about to
bodysuit
Mickey is about to
passion
cancel
there.
me from Big Brother 27 because I'm about to reference a Pokemon. But it's giving me maybe because I'm playing Pokemon Snap again, the new one. It's giving me Xerneas.
Oh my god! Don't do that, Cerny. Look, Ellipse looked like a damn fool on this runway. She had that coconut, uh, what was it? The bowl cut, coconut head from Ned's Declassified kind of thing on. I was like, ugh, bad. But let's talk about the good. Cam Hugh, number one of the week. I don't care what anyone says. This bitch blew up a moon on her back. She was Sailor Moon. She was Sailor fucking Moon, and then she blew up the moon on her back to give her the pose of like behind the moon behind her as she transformed, kind of thing. It was beautiful. It was amazing. Can't say enough good things. Peach, hilarious. This kind of like barbarian-esque character. I don't remember what it was from, but it was just so funny because kind of simple body, and then all of a sudden she has this robust, like just round shape to her after her hips, and I'm like everything just blowing up, and she just had this funny campy drag. It looked great, such a great moment, and Mami Watta, which might have saved her from the bottom too, honestly. This latex leather kind of sex dream thing going on here. She has a blown up ponytail on. The leather is so tight to her skin. She has like blown up on the wrists and at the bottom of her outfit. Like it almost looks like it kind of looks like a condom slightly, on each side, but it just was so fashion. It was so good. She had this pump and she was pumping it as it was like getting bigger kind of thing. It was just so funny. The presentation was so good. Definitely did amazing. Um, Someone who ended up being in the top this week, Misty Phoenix. She had this Popeye inspired um blow up. The issue with this was she looked amazing. It was very drag, but the blow up was only her like muscles, and you didn't see much blow up from where it started. It felt like there wasn't much there, so it kind of got a little bit lower down. But she had a spinach kind of purse bag hanging off of her that she acted as if she was eating like Popeye does, and so it was very, very good. And um you know, they mentioned that Soa's look is from a new upcoming fashion designer. They were glad that she had it. It was this, like green and pink, really fun, like all like I think it was all made of like pool wear kind of thing or pool accessory stuff. It was very cool. It was very fun. Um,
I don't
you
know
know, we
why, but it was giving me like a Fall Guys costume.
it kind of is because it's colorful and fun. It was very cool. I mean, we had Punani do a literal like almost like an old style wedding dress, but then had flowers on it that inflated and looked a little cheap on the side for the blow up things. But I think to be fair to everyone, the blow up idea was kind of difficult to really pick up, right? Like it was kind of a lot. Um, we had Big Bertha who basically had like it looked like a huge flower on her back blowing up. And she went from like a gorgeous dress to a not so gorgeous swimsuit kind of thing, as if she was on a pool floaty. That's what it kind of gave. And did love the shoes though. It matched the outfit at least. But it wasn't the most successful look. But obviously her character in the Snatch Game, she was top already, so she was safe. And then finally, we have a really emotional moment for Moon on the runway. She had talked about it in this episode in length about how her transition and how the one thing that she always she wants to be able to do, but she knows she can't, is carry a child. She wants to have the experience of pregnancy, and as a woman, she feels somewhat incomplete, and it's somewhat of her dream to have that completed. So she came out in this beautiful garment, white, very Vivian Westwood kind of inspired almost. This beautiful pattern. It looks like a wedding dress, and then cut out is her stomach as it blows up with the baby inside, kind of thing to represent her pregnancy. And it was a beautiful telling message. I'm not a huge fan of the whole pregnancy on stage thing, but I think this worked here because of the message she had and the moment she had. And it was very touching and it was very vulnerable of her. And I really appreciated seeing this side of her. And this is where I think we start to see, especially the beginning trail of that kind of Moon favoritism that you've been talking about. And I just felt it was important that we talk about that specifically. It is a beautiful look. It's just this episode, especially, there was a lot of focus on Moon, and we'll see that continued on so far in the show. It feels like a little bit. So it's kind of strange that this is like the first time it's like a really in your face.
Like, yeah, and it even that it feels even more egregious too, is because like usually that happens in like episodes where like someone wins, right? Where you get like their backstory, you get a little bit more about them, something makes you a little more emotional, then they win. Um, like, and we have Misty Phoenix this episode here too, that has now won her second episode out of three, which I don't think anybody was expecting here, right? And I don't think she's getting the same kind of like narrative focus that like Moon is getting. Like outside of Misty, like I guess acting dumb or pretending to be dumb in her season and now her being smarter, like I don't see any sort of like real story really for anybody, honestly, in this outside of Moon, who is just constantly kind of just getting a lot of the focus in the narrative. So I don't know. It I mean, we haven't seen anything egregious yet. that where it's like Moon should have been in the bottom two. I feel like maybe last episode, but like I can justify her, I guess, just being low. But yeah, I don't know. I would be a little underwhelmed if like we're getting all of this amazing kind of performances out of Mami Watta and Peach and even Ellipse to end up with like a Moon win at this point, unless she turns it on.
I
Honestly.
Okay, so I think with the Moon thing, I think there's a lot of damage control they're trying to do for her because she is the girl that quit, right? And I think that there was a lot of negative reaction to that. I mean, there were some girls who were very understanding, and it's a high stress thing, yada yada yada, whatever. We don't know because we weren't there, right? But Moon quit. She bowed out from her season, and I think they're really trying to at least portray her very humanized. They're trying to make sure that people understand that like this is a human being, regardless of how you feel about what she did in the competition. You should not be rude to them just because of that. Like you can talk about her behind her back, but don't be posting shit like talking about how you hate her and she's a disgrace or anything like that, right? And especially when it comes to a trans woman, it's like trans people are going to experience more hate and more violence, especially when it comes to the what would you say the reaction of other people. So I think they're really trying to highlight Moon and her emotions because she is one of the people having this emotional moment. I think especially after Soa leaves, Moon is like the kind of new emotional character, right?
No, you're
Like
right.
essentially this episode is the end of Soa's arc and the kind of really the Moon taking over like the next phase, ha 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 joke of the like emotion arc essentially in the show.
No, you're right. You're right. It makes sense. Like I'm not saying again like it's not undeserved, but it's one of those editing things where it's like whenever somebody's getting focus, but they're not actually like doing anything in the story, kind of thing. I'm always just kind of like, well, why is this happening? Like that
I
always kind of throws me off. It's always just very much so like the Michelle from Survivor Co Wrong thing where it's like, well, Michelle's not doing anything, but Michelle's always talking. Why? And it's like, okay, well, because she wins. I'm like, okay, well, I always have to. My editing mind here is thinking for things like that. So yeah, but ultimately, and I mean, like maybe because of what happens in the next episode, we'll kind of maybe see why Misty doesn't really get the focus here. But she does lip sync here against Punani to Discoteca. Um, I don't know who sang it, but it was kind of catchy, but a little weird. But I kind of feel like that with a lot of the pop music from other countries, where I'm like, I can kind of get into this, but then there's always that element to it where it's like it doesn't fully connect. But I do feel like Misty was in her element. I don't know if this is a song that I would feel like Punani would definitely necessarily like perform herself if she was choosing. So that's why it felt like for me, like it made sense that Misty kind of won this. And like I said, it's like you have a girl here now. She's been in the top two twice. She won 1 week, and now she was in the top week one, right? Like, and I feel like I still don't really know too much about um, Misty to begin with, but like she's a very unexpected force too as well in this. Like I was not expecting Misty to have as much early success as she has. But I'm also kind of wondering here too is if it's a situation where it's like a Kana Montrese kind of thing, where they're giving the girl who they probably expect to be like the best lip syncer out of the group some early focus, only for her to like maybe like crash and burn towards the end. I don't know, but I'm just narratively, I want more from Misty. I feel like if I was to really say like who I think would probably get to the end based off of the edit, at this point it would be I think I even told you here prior to this, it felt like it's some form of like Moon, Mami, Punani, and I think I said Cam at the time. Obviously, in our next podcast, we will learn that that's not the case. But Yeah, it felt like up to this point, those were kind of the characters they were wanting us to really root for. So um, I was not surprised again, where both girls pulled out the lip sync and Solo went home. But what were your kind of thoughts here on the whole Misty thing? And do you think that she should get a little bit more focus in the edit, or maybe am I just not focusing on Misty when it comes to that edit?
I think with Misty, it does feel like she hasn't gotten as much. We get a lot of good praise from the judges for her, but outside of the good praise from the judges, it doesn't feel like there's much else going on here. So yeah, I kind of agree with you. Like it's kind of strange.
Yeah, so unfortunately, that means our first two eliminated from France All Stars will be Magnetica and the Great Sword Muse. But that also just means that we have 8 queens left that are gonna bring it. And I do think that, again, this is a pretty deserving cast. I can't really argue with too many of the decisions. I think we're on a fine trajectory at the moment. But again, some things stick out in the edit to me that feel like we could be on the way to something, but we'll go ahead and we'll save that judgment for when it happens. Jack, did you have any final words here as we bring to the end the first 2 elimination episodes of the season and say goodbye to our first 2 queens?
Now that we get rid of our first two queens, it feels like we don't exactly know who to get rid of next. Like I have an idea of who I think should go next, but I don't think it's going the way that we all think it's going to go. Or maybe I'm thinking differently than everyone else, but I feel like it was kind of writing on the wall for these two. But as far as, we have 8 talented queens left. I have an idea of maybe 3 that I can see going soon, but I don't know. Things seem like they're going to switch up really fast.
Especially when we don't really know too much about how they're kind of really basing their decisions. Like I said, we haven't really had as much interpersonal connections and things like that we've gotten outside of their seasons. So it does seem like it's a situation where it's like you end up in a bottom and a girl from your season wins. Well, you might be safe. You should be safe, but you never know. Because then we don't really know how they're making these decisions at this moment. So, yeah. But as always, I can't wait to see how this all turns out. And hopefully you can't either, especially if you made it this far. Again, thank you so much for listening. And make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and comment below. Jack, what do you want your question to be for the week?
I want my question to be, who had the best look on the blow up runway? And then who had your least favorite look in the ball?
Okay. Okay. I'm interested to see these answers here, y'all. Well, y'all, until next time. And on behalf of my co-caster, QuackrrJack, this is Renegayde signing out. But remember, keep spilling that tea, y'all. Bye!
Bye.
Yeah, let's say later. Bye, Jack.